You can be seated. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Let's see the thumbs up like I normally ask. Yeah, everyone's okay. Had a good break. It's nice to see you. So I'm really looking forward to today's chapel. One of the things I love about working at QMS is how connected we are to the school's history. Hearing the stories of our founders and seeing the traditions and peoples that shape this community makes it clear they were part of something bigger than ourselves. The values they stated so many years ago are essentially the same values we hold today, and I think that is so powerful. Learning about our history also teaches us respect. Respect for the people who came before us, for the sacrifices they made, and for the role each of us plays in continuing their story. So for me, understanding our history it really actually has made an impact on how I choose to show up every day. I have developed a sense of respect for what our founders have done or did to even make the school happen and how it came to be. I'm fascinated by it, and I love that our school brings it to the forefront so often. I feel a deep sense of responsibility to honor them and their stated hopes and dreams for the school by doing my best to lead through their stated values and with a commitment to being in service of others. So today, we are lucky to have Ms. Carrie Pallister, our school archivist, how do I say that again? Archivist, oh, I said it right, okay, here with us. She preserves the stories, photos, and artifacts that brings our history to life, and she'll be sharing a little bit about Nora Denny's brother who served in World War I. Welcome.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you all today. I'm really impressed that you sit in the front row, or were you told to sit in the front row? Because in my school we used to try and sit at the back row. Yeah. So, as Ms. Powell said, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Miss Denny's, one of her brothers, one that died in the First World War. The whole family served, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And that military tradition of the Denny family was so important to them. And you know, even the women, even Miss Denny served in nursing corps, and her sister Iris was a driver, ambulance driver, and then they all came to work at almost all of them came to work at QMS, so they had that continuity. So first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Quw'utsun, Malahat, Tubasit, Halat, Penelakut, Tsuminas, Laexan, Pakwachin, Didadat, and Pachidat people, on whose land we are learning, working, and gathering today. Can I have the next slide? Thank you. I would also like to acknowledge the Indigenous people who fought in both World Wars. The First Nations have their own Remembrance Day for their fallen, and that is the 8th of November. About 4,000 First Nations fought in World War I, and 300 died. At least 3,000 First Nations members, including 72 women, enlisted in the Second World War, including Inuit, Métis, and other Indigenous peoples. So today we're gathered in this 91-year-old chapel. We're surrounded by memorials who honor generations of students and staff who shaped the school and whose service extended far beyond it. The names around us in the stained glass windows of Emily and Edmund Denny, Miss Denny's parents, Violet Windle. There's other memorials behind you on the wall. The one here in the stained glass, Diana Melnick, Kenneth Roy Laird, Sharon Brown. And so if you look around you when the building's not so full, you'll see these different memorials. And together these memorials remind us that remembrance is not distant history, it is woven into the very walls of this chapel and calling us to honor their courage and respect. We hear this a lot around this time of year, lest we forget. And this phrase emerges after the First World War across the British Commonwealth, but originates from an 1897 poem written by Rudyard Kipling, his poem Recessional. and is closely associated with Remembrance Day in many English-speaking countries. More than a slogan, it is a collective promise to safeguard the memory with care, honesty, and respect. It became the defining inscription on cenotaph memorials, urging future generations to never overlook the human cost of war, nor the profound responsibility that remembrance places upon us. So Robert Edmund Barry Denny, known as Ted, was the son of Edmund Barry and Emily Barclay Denny. They lived in Lincolnshire in England. Their father was a physician and a justice of the peace in Lincolnshire, and there was 5 siblings that I mentioned. So Miss Denny, Miss Nora Denny, Henry Maynard Denny, that worked here and did gardening and was the kind of the handyman. Iris, who I mentioned, she worked here as a bookkeeper. Thomas Hamilton and Arthur de Courcy stayed in England. But they all served in the First World War, and several continued to serve in the Second World War. Their story is in itself a testament to a family shaped by duty, service, and sacrifice. So in 1913, after 4 years of medical training in the London hospital, 22-year-old Ted Denny sailed for Canada with his sister Iris, departing Liverpool. Why? I don't really know. I haven't been able to find out why they came here. I don't know if they had relatives. I'm still tracking that one down. But anyway, he came with his sister, and they lived here just for about a year and a half, and then war broke out. So Ted and Maynard signed up in 1914. They joined the 16th Canadian Scottish Battalion. Almost 1,000 volunteers, almost like barely trained young men, not much older than you. They were suddenly preparing for a kind of war the world had never seen. Within weeks, they were on ships to England, and in February 1915, they were in France, thrown straight into the chaos of the Western Front. At Ypres, they faced poison gas attacks, something no soldier could have ever imagined. By May 1915, the battalion was pushed forward to the village of Festubert. Fighting alongside British, Canadian, Scottish, and South Asian troops, imagine 4 days of non-stop explosions, 100,000 shells before anyone even moved forward. When the attack finally came, the ground was mud, smoke, shattered trees, and constant gunfire. Progress was measured in meters. On the 18th of May, the Canadians attacked again. Rain poured, artillery hammered them, trenches flooded, and fresh German reinforcements kept coming. Between the 20th and 24th of May, Allied troops finally took the village, but at a massive cost. During the patrol on the 22nd of May, Ted was hit by shell fire. He died in the hospital. Later that day, he had been recommended for promotion just days earlier. Sedona? We have in this chapel a very special artifact. This is a battlefield cross. You may not have ever noticed it hanging on the wall. And Sedona's going to bring it closer so you can see it. So when Ted Denny died in this terrible battle, his comrades, and anyone that died in these terrible battles in the First World War, his comrades would have built this cross out of pieces of wood that they found and any supplies that they had at hand. And they planted these crosses where the person died. Thank you. But his friends remembered him like this: one of the most courageous comrades. His coolness under fire was incredible. The king has lost a good soldier, and we a good pal. Those words show what soldiers respected most, not medals or rank, but loyalty, courage, and showing up for each other, even when everyone around them was falling apart. And they made this battlefield cross. So now Hannah is going to read In Flanders Field in one second. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, a Canadian physician, wrote In Flanders Field in May 1915 after the death of his friend Alexis Helmer. The poem remains one of the most haunting expressions of grief, duty, and remembrance in wartime literature. His poem continues to poignantly express the tragic losses of war.
Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. From failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith in us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Thank you, Hannah. When we read these lines today, the theme of respect becomes clear. Respect for lives interrupted, for families changed forever, and for the moral responsibility we inherit when we choose to remember rather than turn away. So as I mentioned, during this First World War, the dead were buried where they fell, their graves marked by these simple wooden crosses, handmade by their comrades. They were acts of care in a landscape of destruction. Each one represented love, duty, and the refusal to let life pass unacknowledged. After the war, the Imperial, now Commonwealth Graves Commission, carefully reinterred the fallen in permanent cemeteries such as Bethune Town Cemetery, where Ted Denny now lies. Families were offered their relatives' original wooden markers, and that's why we have this one today, as a personal link to the battlefield sacrifice where their loved ones fought and died. These cemeteries stand as a place of quiet respect, preserving dignity for each soldier equally, regardless of rank, background, or nationality, and they remind us of the remembrance, not the abstract. It is a personal, human, and rooted in compassion. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for bringing that information to us and that history. Now when I look at that cross, it means something very different to me, and there's so much more to learn, and I think that in the next month we're going to continue to learn a little bit more about traditions, history, and this building. We are now going to sing the school song, and I want you to sing it just thinking about the history and the traditions and how the song came to be and what we're trying to honor. And if we think about our founders, the work that they put in to create the school and how it's evolved is something really special. So let's sing with some pride. So if I can get you to stand up.
His name Thanks very much. Sit down, please, for a moment. I won't speak for long, but I just wanted to thank Ms. Pallister for putting together a presentation for us today that reminded us of that Remembrance Day service that we had and connected a founding family of the school to an artifact in the chapel. And what I think I found through friendships and through acquaintances over the course of the years is that sometimes we think we know someone, but we maybe don't always get an insight on how their personality or how their behaviors have developed into the person that they are today. And once we get to know them better and we start to understand their past and their history and things that might have happened to them and the experiences that they've gone through, it starts setting off these little light bulbs and it helps us actually see who they really are. And so perhaps some of you are finding that with each other and your friends and maybe even family members. And so I think that concept applied to an organization or applied to a school reiterates and reinforces that it can be really valuable to us as we build our own connections with this place and with QMS, for us to start seeing into the past of the school and just starting to understand some of the history and some of the story of this place, because it will gradually help you build an understanding of what we're experiencing now, how things are, how things have come to be, and it might just shed some light on the school in a different way. And so I think as you move forward in your journey here, some of you will have had a chance to touch base with some of the materials in the archives in different ways, but we're hoping that might be part of your experience with a project that perhaps you're doing in a classroom, or there might just be something that you're interested in finding out more about. So please do leverage Ms. Pallister as a resource and the archives as a resource, and if you're not sure who to go to do that, then please speak to an advisor or, really any trusted adult at the school. And I'm sure we can help you understand a bit more about the school's story. Great. Lovely to see you all, and thanks for singing this morning. And we will see you soon. Thanks very much for a great morning.